is basically, okay, so what is the agenda for today? Is actually estate planning. Okay, starting with a will. All right, so before we actually start to write a will, we have to actually ask ourselves 3 questions. Okay, I always call it the 3 W's. All right, so first question will be, we got to identify what are the assets. Okay, secondly, who to give to. And lastly, when to give. Okay, so when to give, right, is the easiest to answer. It is only on death. Okay, because a will is only operational when someone passes on. All right. So when someone passes on, there's only one question. Whether is there a will or there is
a question, President.
Yep.
Is it possible to have a whiteboard and black words instead of blackboard and dark words? Very hard to see.
Oh, okay. Let me just use a light background. Okay, is that better? Okay.
Certainly.
Okay. So so let us continue. All right. Okay, so a will is only operational when someone passes on lah. Okay, so when someone passes on, there's only one question, whether has the person written a will. All right, so what is the difference between actually having a will and not having a will? Okay, so the most important thing about having a will is that you can actually choose, who you want to give your assets to. Okay, and the proportion. All right, no will, you actually cannot choose. Then what happens if you actually can't choose? Okay, then you have to go according to Intestate Succession Act. Okay, to actually distribute your assets. So this intestate succession is actually a piece of government legislation. Okay, that actually governs how asset is to be distributed when someone passes on without leaving a will. Okay, so it's very rigid, cannot change one. Okay, yeah. Okay, so the second advantage in actually having a will, all right, is that it will be cheaper for your estate. Okay, so basically when someone passes on with a will, right, the executors have to get the grant of probate. Okay, so this is a court order to allow the executors to take control of the assets and actually distribute it in accordance with the will. So for assets, total assets, right, of the estate that is 3 million or less, it will cost about 3.5 to about 5K. Okay, typical law firm rates. And any above 3 million of the estate, it will cost somewhere between 6 to 8K. Okay, so with no will, right, it's actually more expensive. And you'll be actually called letters of administration. I call it letters of admin for short, instead of grant of probate. Okay, so for assets that is 3 million or less, it will cost already about 6 to 8K. Anything in excess of 3 million, it will be anywhere between 8 to 10K or above. All right. Okay, so the last advantage, in actually having a will is that it is faster. Okay, typically, you'll be able to get the grant of probate in about 1 to 3 months. Okay, no will, it will take a longer time. 3 to 6 months. All right, or sometimes even take years. Okay, so you can see the difference in actually having a will and not having a will. Right, having a will allows you to actually choose who to give to, the proportion, cheaper and faster. All right, for distribution. No will, you cannot choose. It's more expensive and it takes a longer time. Okay, so always remember to do a will. All right. Okay, so now let's talk about assets. Everyone's asset will be broadly categorized into these 3 asset groups. All right, A, B, and C. So basically, what is A? A will be your immovable property. Okay, things like your HDB, your condo, your lender, things like that. All right, your insurance and your investments. B will be business shareholdings. Okay, for instance, if you own a business, a family business, or even your own business, or certain shares in certain companies where you can actually pass it down. All right, then you'll be under B. C will just be cash and CPF. Okay, cash at home, cash in the bank, all right, and CPF. Okay, so basically CPF, right, is excluded from the will. It's going strictly by way of nomination. Okay, so just remember to do a nomination at CPF board, either online or in person. Okay, and then your CPF monies will be actually distributed in accordance with your nomination. All right, so A, B, and C, right, when you passed on, all right, all your assets will actually flow into this triangle. Okay, I call it the funnel in the sky, and actually from your gross assets. Okay, and in this funnel, there are actually holes inside. Okay, and they comprise of three broad categories: professional fees, creditors, and government taxes. All right, so they have to be paid off first, okay, before your beneficiaries will be able to receive your assets. All right, so what are professional fees? They are like your lawyer fees, all right, for your grant of probate, your funeral expenses, okay, and your doctor fees. Okay, creditors will be any legal debts that you own. For instance, credit card loans, maybe have a bank loan. Okay, your mortgages of your property, your vehicle loans. Okay, just to state a few. And for government taxes, right, typically it's only income tax and property tax. Okay, so my role as an estate planner is to basically look at your assets, to offer certain suggestions or certain ways that we can actually improve, all right, to give you an income for life or improve your assets, okay, and minimize all the outgoings. Okay, means we fix the kind of cost, okay, so that more will be able to go on to your beneficiaries when you passed on. Okay, so how can we actually do it? First is to do a will. All right, because once the will is done, right, your lawyer fees will be fixed. All right, and you can fix your funeral expenses as well, all right, by stating how elaborate you want your funeral to be. Typically 3-day, 5-day, 7-day wake. What religion, and some of my clients even have a funeral arrangement set in place. All right. For instance, with an example will be with Nirvana, all right, Nirvana cremation, all right, some of them buy pre-packaged funeral arrangements, all right, that, when they pass on, Nirvana will actually take over to do the funeral arrangements, all the way to actually a cremation, and even they have a niche, to be placed, a family niche, things like that. So that is actually a part of estate planning as well, okay? Yeah. Secondly is to consider doing an LPA. So basically, LPA is a lasting power of attorney. All right. And it's getting increasingly popular. Okay. So what is a lasting power of attorney? Lasting power of attorney is basically a document that sets out, in the event I'm mentally incapacitated. Okay. For instance, dementia, stroke, Alzheimer, what then happens? Okay. If I don't do an LPA, right, my loved ones might not be able to help me to make certain decisions, regarding my treatment, day-to-day living, or even to manage my assets, for instance, to rent out my property for rental income, to take care of me, my nursing needs and things like that. Okay, so a lasting power of attorney will actually settle that. Okay, so you can pre-appoint someone, in the event that happens to you, okay, that they will be able to straight away manage for you. Okay, so if a LPA is not done, then what will happen? So in the event that there is no LPA done, and then touch wood really happens, stroke or dementia and things like that, then your loved ones, right, might have to do a appointment of deputy. Okay, which is actually much more costly. Okay, this one costs a few $1,000s one if it's uncontested. Okay, so if it's contested, then it will really go up the roof lah. Okay, I got one client never do a LPA, then in the end have to do appointment deputy, and it's contested by his brother. Yeah, so actually the final cost upon settling is about 40,000-50,000. Yeah, okay, so don't risk it, just do a LPA. So my business partner does my LPA for my clients as well. Okay, lastly is to consider doing a AMD, Advanced Medical Directive. Okay, so a advanced medical directive, right, will be able to arrange that if you are terminally ill and you are on life support, and in the opinion of the doctor, not likely to recover, maybe brain dead, fully reliant, on life support, then you can make the decision. If that happens, whether you want to terminate life support. Okay, means switch off the machine and let you go off. Okay, so you can only do this at the AMD certified clinic. Okay, so consider getting it done. Yeah, so basically a LPA, after you've done your LPA, your lawyer fees will be fixed as well. Okay, and AMD will seek to fix the doctor costs. Okay, so for creditors, try not to have any, and if you have, just try to reduce it wherever possible. Okay, and for taxes, it's very simple. Just pay up to date every year, your income tax and your property tax. Okay, and consider doing estate planning with me. Okay, so basically a will can seek to distribute your assets in accordance with the way you want. Okay, but the rules set in place, that even a will cannot change. Okay, so let's talk about it. What I'm talking about is actually joint ownership. Okay, joint ownership of property, joint property. They call it a joint tenancy. Okay, and joint account. All right. So for joint ownership and joint account, right, in terms of property and accounts, it must go to the joint owner first. Okay. So for instance, I own property, all right, with my wife B. Okay, I'm A. So I cannot give to C. For instance, I must give to B first. Okay. So what is this called? This is called rule of survivorship. Okay, so basically, you must go to the joint owner for joint property as well as joint account. And if the joint owner were to predecease you, then you can choose who to give to. Okay, so this is a rule, a cardinal rule that is very important that will not be able to supersede the will. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about insurance and how does it fit in your will. Okay, so for insurance, right, there is an option to do a nomination. Okay, so most of my clients, they have certain existing insurance, like for instance, life insurance, certain endowments, all right, or even investment plans that will have surrender or cash values. Okay, so for that kind of plan, you can definitely do a nomination. Okay, and subsequently, they went to do a will. Okay, so my nomination, I can give to A plus B, right, done many, many years back. For instance, 10, 15, 20 years back. But my will, I give to C plus D. So in this scenario, there will be a clear conflict because I might have intended to give my insurance proceeds, right, to A plus B 10, 15 years back. But now I changed my mind. I give to C plus D, So which one will be able to supersede? Means a will, can it supersede a nomination? Okay. So for nomination, right, for policies, right, there are policies entered before October 2009 and after October 2009. Okay, and they are different. Okay, if your policy is entered before October 2009, and whether a nomination is made, if it's a yes, then it will be a irrevocable nomination. Because at that time, right, there is only a irrevocable nomination. Okay, but if your policy is entered after October 2009, and whether a nomination is made, if it's a yes, then there is two kinds of nomination. There is a revocable nomination and an irrevocable nomination. Okay, so whether a nomination is revocable or irrevocable will determine if your will can supersede your nomination. All right. So for irrevocable nomination, as the name suggests, is irrevocable. All right. So your will cannot supersede. Okay. So for instance, in my nomination, I give to A plus B, and my will subsequently give to C plus D. Okay. It cannot supersede. A plus B will still get the money. Okay. So if it's after October 2009, there is two nomination, revocable, irrevocable. Okay. Will can supersede a revocable nomination. Okay. So for instance, same scenario, I give to A plus B, and subsequently my will dated later, I give to C plus D. Okay, C plus D will prevail over A and B. So C plus D will be able to get the payout. Okay, so for irrevocable nomination, same thing. Okay, it follows this one. Okay, on the left. Okay, will cannot distribute differently. All right. So basically, in giving your insurance payout, okay, I would suggest you check your policy whether is it a revocable or irrevocable nomination. Okay, because the last thing you want to do is that if it's irrevocable, you cannot revoke it, and then you thought that your will is able to revoke, and then subsequently it never go according to your wishes. Okay, yeah. So there is one way of actually revoking an irrevocable nomination is to get the consent of your nominees. Okay, means to sign a form to revoke the irrevocable nomination. Then after that, you can use your will to distribute. Okay, so the ideal scenario, I always tell my clients, is that once you do a will, okay, you give to the person you want to give to, all right, do a nomination again, a revocable nomination to be consistent, all right, with your will. Okay, provided always that it is a revocable nomination done in the first place. Okay, yeah. So basically these two points I would like to actually reiterate lah. Okay, so that because I wouldn't be able to whether your ownership and your insurance, whether is it you hold it jointly, or for your insurance, whether is it a revocable or irrevocable nomination. Okay, yeah. All right. So basically, in a nutshell, okay, this is estate planning. Okay, so it can range estate planning from one end of the scale all the way to the other end on a scale of 0 to 10. Okay, the complexity. Okay, so a simple will, the simplest, right, is give to one person, one beneficiary. Okay, all the way to scale of 10, the complexity, where a will can give to as many people as you want with different layers. Means to say, right, my first layer can be A plus B. And if B predeceased me, I give to C plus D. And if they add either one predeceased, I give to their children. Okay, so there is first level, second level, third level. Okay, and I can add a testamentary trust inside the will. Okay, so basically what is a testamentary trust? A testamentary trust is a trust that basically only sets in after you passed on in accordance with your will. Okay, so testamentary trust will set out certain conditions for release of monies. Okay, for instance, I might have this sum of money plus my rental. Okay, I want to give to my children A plus B. Okay, but basically, I don't trust them to manage their money. Yeah, so I will set certain conditions for certain release of monies when they hit certain milestones in life. Okay, for instance, at age 21, okay, I will distribute maybe 50,000 to them. Okay, and when they graduate, another 20% of my estate. Okay, and when they get married, okay, maybe another 30%. And, when they have kids, remainder, oops. Okay, so basically this is just a example, okay, and the conditions can be limitless. Okay, so this is where we get more in-depth into estate planning. Okay, yeah, so my will charges, all right, will be as follows. For basic will, okay, it only give to one beneficiary lah. Okay, I will charge $30. For a normal will, means up to 4 beneficiaries, it will be 100. All price is net lah. Okay, and for a normal will that contains minors, means to give to someone below 21, right? It will be same, up to 4 beneficiaries, 150. Okay, so as long as any of the beneficiary is below 21, it will be 150. Okay, because they will be holding on trust clauses. Okay, below 21, you can actually hold assets. So they will be on trust, holding it on trust until they are 21. And there will be legal guardianship. Okay, it means you can appoint someone to act as legal guardians of your children, all right, in the event that, you and your spouse were to die in a common disaster. Okay, so that is why the increase in price. Okay, and if you want to add a testamentary trust in, okay, it will be additional 150. Okay, this is what we talk about on the left, this part about testamentary trust. Okay, and for any additional beneficiary in excess of 4, just add $20. All right. Okay. So basically, this is all the way from the 0 to 10. Okay. And they are also at 10, right? Okay. You might also want to do a trust, a living trust, they call it. Okay. So a living trust sets up certain conditions for release of funds. Okay. What's the difference between living trust and testamentary trust? Living trust is, it happens when you're still alive. Okay, and you have a pool of money, a pool of assets, all right, and how you want to distribute the monies. Okay, so you can always come to me and then we can actually discuss how we structure the living trust. okay, and how I can actually help you to invest your monies in either a certain endowment plans, all right, retirement planning, all right, or certain plan that give you a income for life, okay, or investment plans to actually grow and distribute it, okay, yeah. Okay, so I actually manage a lot of big estates as well, all right, with my law firm, okay, and also on a personal basis, I get every now and then I do meet someone that wants to do more advanced planning, okay. So as an estate planner, any plans that not any plans like plans that you buy from me, like maybe endowment plan, either investment plan, okay, will actually get you a free will. Plus free updates for life, as long as the plan is still active lah. Okay, so that's my value add lah to my clients. Okay, because of that, after the will, if they get something from me, then they will be under me as a client. So I'll be able to do free updates of their will over time, updating the schedule and everything, and give free updates for life. Okay, okay. So now let's go into the will form itself. Okay. Okay, so basically this is example, okay, of a basic will. All right, where it's only going to one beneficiary. Okay, so basically all the names here, all the details are fictitious one. Okay, so this is what I will send to you, and you need to fill it in and actually return it to me for me to prepare the will. After that, I can either Zoom with you or meet you up at my office to finalize the will. Okay, yeah. Okay, so basically, what are executors? They are your trusted persons lah, to administer your asset in accordance with your will. He or she can be your spouse, your adult children, friends, relative, example, etc. They can also be your beneficiaries lah. Okay, but they must be above 21, sound mind, and not a bankrupt. Okay, so for instance, if I'm Alex Lee, I name my wife Marianne Sim, all right, as my executor. So I just have to key in. Okay, so beneficiary. So for basic will, is only one beneficiary. So there is no multi-layer. So not really recommended lah. Okay, so beneficiary will be my wife, Marianne. Okay, and for assets, right, I would need you to actually list them out, because there is always a risk of missing assets if you don't list anything out. Okay, and the good practice is always to update the schedule, because you will have a schedule behind the will of your assets over time. So everything becomes very very relevant, all right, very transparent. And if touch wood, you kick the bucket, okay, your executors will be immediately able to identify assets and get the grant of probate in the shortest time, with actually spending minimum for the law firm fees. Okay, yeah. So for instance, if this is my address, I'll just state it there. My accounts, okay, my investments, maybe Tiger Broker, CDP, Poems account, all right, my insurance policies, okay, and my personal belongings, okay, and maybe I have certain business like Wash and Go Private Limited. I'll just state it inside, and who to give to, okay, yeah. And the funeral arrangement will just be a 3 days wake, Buddhism, no molding, maybe mahjong to be allowed. Okay, yeah, so this is up to you. And final words, maybe take care of yourself and others around you. You can always put it in, okay, and be read out with your will. Okay, so this is a basic will. So let's move on to a normal will. Okay, so basically it's the same. It's just that there is more executors and there are more beneficiaries. Okay, so person making will, same thing, Alex Lee. I named 2 executors, all right. Peter So, that's maybe my son, and then Marianne Sim, that's my wife. Okay, but it's always recommended to name someone that is younger than you, okay, as your executors, because once you kick the bucket, okay, they are still young and active enough to run around, going to get a grant or probate and distributing the assets. The last thing you want to appoint is someone that is as old as you or even older. Okay, then you might have a problem, because that person's not young anymore, when you kick the bucket. Yeah. Okay, so always try to name someone like maybe your children, someone that is younger than you. It can be your beneficiary as well. All right. Okay, so beneficiaries, so I will have 3, my wife, my son and my daughter. Okay, Marianne, Peter, and Christine. Okay, and for assets, right, I'll just list them all down, who I want to give to. Okay, so for immovable, I hold it jointly with my wife, Marianne Sim, so I have to give her 100%. And my wife predeceased me, on the right-hand side, I give to my two children, Peter So, Christine So, 50-50. Okay, and my movable assets, okay, for sole account, you can give to anyone, ma. So I give to my two children, ma, Peter So, Christine So, 50-50. Okay, and either predeceased, then I give to my, give to the my wife and the survivor distributed equally. All right. So if it's joint, like Citibank account, I give to my wife, Marianne, 100%. Okay, because that's the rule of survivorship. Okay, and she predeceased, then I give to both my children, 50-50. All right. Okay, so you can see further down, you can see my investments in my CDP account, my Poems account. Okay, who I want to give to, because it's all held solely, so I can give to anyone. Give to Peter So, Christine, and Marianne. Okay, and then if predeceased, then divided evenly among survivor. Okay, so my insurance policy, same thing. My sole name, I can give to anyone. I choose to give my wife 100%. All right. And my personal belongings, my watch, I give to Peter. My stamp collection, I give to my daughter. My Mercedes car, I give to my wife. Okay. And then if predeceased, it will be to the survivors. Okay. And my business, same thing, I give to my wife. Predeceased, it will be to my two children. All right. But businesses, always remember there might be certain shareholder clauses that will stop you from giving directly to your beneficiaries. Okay. There might be certain shareholder clauses that will mandate that other shareholders buy out your share first. Means it must be offered to them first. Okay, and then if they refuse to buy, then maybe it can go to your children or your beneficiary. So you have to check on that. Okay, yeah, and then the funeral arrangement and the final words. Okay, okay. Now let's go to will form with minors. Okay, so basically everything is the same. Okay, it's just that they are legal guardians. Okay, so in the event me and my wife, Marianne, caught die in a common disaster, then they will be taking over, all right, duties of parental duties. Okay, so I appoint my brother, Kenny Sim, and then my sister-in-law, Dorothy Sim, all right, to be the legal guardians. Okay, so you see my beneficiaries, they are almost the same. Okay, it's just that there will be minors involved. Okay, so all assets will be held on trust if given to minors, which I'll include in the will. Okay. All right. So basically, this is the kind of distribution now, which we need not go through. All right, because we have already gone through. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So basically, we have gone through the will form. We have gone through a snapshot of estate planning. Okay. So before we end, let me just go through certain policies that my clients will be very interested in, and basically they will be very good for estate planning as well. Okay. How can I change it? Okay. Okay, so basically, right, under all the insurers, okay, I'm under Great Eastern. Okay, there will be two kind of plans in general. Okay, one is an investment. Oops. Investment linked plans, which we call it ILPs. Okay, and on the opposite end of the scale will be endowment plans. Okay, so basically investment linked plans, there will be a certain level of risk. Okay, for instance, a typical portfolio, right, will include a core fund and a satellite fund. Okay, so for investment linked plans, right, all plans will be based on fund buying. Okay, means buying funds. You might be asking, what are funds? Okay, funds are basically professionally managed investment vehicles. Okay, so for instance, investor A, investor B, investor C, they pool their money and form a giant pool of money. Okay, then they choose the fund they want to invest in. Okay, so our Great Link Fund, we have 30 plus funds and increasing. Okay, and for my iFast and my Prestige portfolio, the funds are even more, thousands. Okay, so basically, they choose the funds to invest, and the fund managers will then invest for them and returns them the returns. Okay, once you start making money, it will return to you. Okay, so basically, in a nutshell, this is what investment linked plans are about. Okay, so typically, right, a portfolio always consists of a core fund and a satellite fund. Okay, so basically, what are core funds? They are broadly diversified funds. Okay, satellite fund is narrow focus. Okay, so basically, these two kind of funds will make up a typical portfolio. All right, so a broadly diversified fund, right, will be example, will be a global equity. Okay, our Great Link Global Equity that has been returning about 10% a year for the past 10 years. Okay, so basically when market drop, okay, you will also drop about 10% or to 20%. Okay, but satellite fund, right, a good example will be global technology. Okay, which has been doing about 20% a year for past 10 years. Okay, so same thing, you know, when it goes up, it will go up 20% or even more. But when it drop, it can drop 20 to 30% as well. Okay, so higher risk, higher return. Okay, but we always put 50-50 as a good portfolio allocation. Okay, there is no limit to how many percent and how many funds you can put it in. You can put in a lot like China fund and things like that, but not recommended now lah, because now China under lockdown, economy is very bad. Evergrande is actually in risk of defaulting and already defaulted. All right, and if they're going to help Ukraine, right, then obviously there will be more problems because there will be certain sanctions against them. So I won't touch China fund for now. So global equity and global technology has been doing quite well, you know, even for my clients. Okay, so basically for ILP plan, right, investment link plan, typically there are two plans. Okay, Smart Invest means there is no lock-in. Okay, you can just buy. Sales charge is just 3%. Okay, you can just put in. Okay, minimum will be 10,000. You can just put it in and let it roll. Anytime you can surrender, all right, or you can choose to continue if you like it, all right, and receive the kind of payout. Okay, so for the other plan, it will be a disciplined investment plan. This one I sell a lot. Okay, so for this disciplined investment plan, right, it will be Great Wealth Advantage. It's called Great Wealth Advantage. Okay, and it offers a welcome bonus. Okay, so minimum is 2,004 a year. You'll get 10% welcome bonus. But if you can do 12,000 or more, you automatically get 40% welcome bonus, which is actually very good because your fund should be up 40%. Yeah, I got one client put in 150,000 a year for 10 years. Okay, so it has been doing very well. And, you know, recently market went down a bit, but she still make money. Okay, so she's quite happy about it. We were able to achieve 10% or more a year. All right, so typically if you achieve like 10+%, 10%, right, just talking about 10%, after 10 years, your investment will double. Okay, so we are looking at like 150,000. After 10 years, it'll be 1.5 million. If it achieves 10% or more, we are looking at actually 3 million. Okay, at the end of it. That is a big estate client that I have. Okay, so this is we will receive a welcome bonus. Then there is no bid offer spread. Okay, so the funds when you buy, you switch out, you buy in, that is the best price because it's single unit pricing. Okay, so it's a 10-year lock-in. After 10 years, you can actually surrender it or treat it like a personal ATM. Or if you like it, just continue because after 10 years, you'll get loyalty bonus. Okay, loyalty bonus is 0.15%, of account value every year. So this is guaranteed, all right, which makes it very attractive because you get welcome bonus, all right, no bid offer spread, single unit pricing, you get a 10-year lock-in, loyalty bonus 0.15, and no limit on fund switches, and free fund switch. Okay, so in a nutshell, this is a very good disciplined investment plan that my clients like. Okay, so before we go on to the endowment plan side, let me just share, that two fun fact sheet with you. Okay. Okay, this will be global equity. Okay, so basically this fund, right, is invest into Goldman Sachs equity portfolio in Luxembourg, all right? And you can see it's broadly diversified, okay? And for the past 10 years, right, it's been doing 11.09%, which is very close to benchmark 11.67, okay? And mainly focused in North America, about 70%, Europe 20%, Asia less than 10%. And all the top 10 holdings are like market leaders, okay? Alphabet, which is Google, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, which is Meta, Tesla, healthcare, and things like that. Okay, so this has been doing well. And technology, okay, that's one of my favorite because technology is here to stay, no matter how we see it, when we use it to work and things like that. Sorry. Okay, so basically global tech is to achieve long-term capital growth in technology stocks, okay? Exposure to the rapidly growing adoption of technologies, okay? And it's underlying global investors, which is our in-house OCBC managers, okay? It's narrow focus. So you can see, right, for the past 10 years, it's been doing averagely about 18.83, close to 20%, actually beat the benchmark of 18.36. So in the whole funds market, right, only top 10, 20% be able to beat the benchmark. And this is one of them, okay? So you can see the top 10 holdings are like Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, Texas, all right, Salesforce, Meta, which is Facebook, Visa. So it's technology across different sectors, okay? Yeah, so this two fund is good. And for this plan, discipline investment plan, every year, right, we will lock into REITs, real estate investment trust, to get the kind of payout for dividend payout. So that is once a year. Okay, so basically it will be here. You can see the kind of dividend payout that you will get. Okay, so for this is the dividend history going all the way back to 06. Okay, it ranged from 3.5 to 4.5. So anytime there is a crisis, you'll be 3.5. But next year, you'll be a boom, 4.5. So you can see, right, 09, 3.5. Next year, 4.5. COVID year 2020, 3.5. 2021, all right, 4.5, which is last year. Okay, so basically the plan is to grow a giant pot of money. Okay, after 10 years, a giant pot. Okay, by doing disciplined investment. And then after that, you can choose what you want to do with the money. Okay, you can put into a plan that gives you kind of returns for life or retirement plan or things like that. Okay. Okay, so let me just share on the endowment plan side. Okay, on the opposite end is endowment plan. This one is little to no risk. Okay, if let's say you're risk adverse, you don't take any risk. Okay, then your endowment plan will be suitable. Okay, so let me just share a chart on the endowment plan. Okay, what we have grade SP, grade single premium, 6. Okay. And secondly, it will be Prime Rewards. And lastly, will be our Prestige Life Rewards. Okay. Grade SP6 basically is a 3 years lock-in. And they will give you 1.68% every year. Okay, which is not very good in my opinion because it doesn't beat inflation. Okay, inflation is at 2%. Okay, Prime Rewards is better. Okay, so basically Prime Rewards is a 20-year plan. Okay, but when you start making money, right? If you need the money, just take it out, surrender the thing. If you don't need, just let it continue to roll. So you don't have to worry about every 2-3 years looking for a short-term plan to park in where it doesn't even beat inflation. Okay, so Prestige Life Rewards is a lifetime plan that gives you payout for life. Okay, so for people that wants to basically receive a payout for life, and age 55, you'll be able to get CPF, right? Okay, so you can consider taking the CPF money to put into this Prestige Life Rewards because it's a retirement plan. All right. Okay, so let me just share the chart with you. This is a comparison chart, okay, of Grade SP Series 6, okay, on the extreme left, all the way to Prestige Life Rewards, okay? So I state an example of 100,000, okay? For Grade SP Series 6, after 3 years, you'll get 105, 167, and plan will terminate, okay? Means they'll pay you back your money, and then you have to look for another short-term plan, 2 to 3 years to pack it in again for the money to grow, okay? But if you have at least a horizon of 5 years, okay, meaning up from 3, you can look at Prime Rewards, which is so much better, okay, because you look at the blue section, right? And number 5, the 5th year, okay, as compared to Grade SP Series 6, all right, you'll be able to get more. So Grade SP Series 6, 108,610, but Prime Rewards give you 110,926, okay? So you don't have to worry every 2-3 years, you have to take out the money. I mean, once the plan ends, you have to look for another plan, short-term 2-3 years and park it in where it doesn't even be inflation. So your money just gets smaller and smaller. Okay, but Great Prime Rewards so much better because if you have at least a 5 years horizon, you just put it in, you'll be more than Great SP Series 6. And if you need the money, just terminate anytime. Okay, after year 3. Because that is where you break even now, okay? But typically, after 5 years, anytime you just terminate. If you don't need the money, just let it roll. It will just be more and more and more, okay? No matter how you like it, 20 years you will end, okay? And you give you 3.61%, all right? And all this is all sum assured, okay? Means to say that it's very good for estate planning. In the event you pass on, right, they will at least give you 105 or 110% of what you put in. So your money is sure to grow, okay? So you look at the a plan on the right, Prestige Life Rewards. Okay, for this plan, it gives you a payout for life. Okay, it's like a retirement plan. Okay, so you can choose to basically continue with it at least 15 years horizon without financing. Yeah, then you will be looking at 141, 160. That will be better than Prime Rewards already. And this is a plan that doesn't end until you terminate. Okay, so for this plan, right, there is 2 options. One of it is the without financing option, means you just buy it with cash. Okay, the other one is with financing. Okay, so you can finance up to 72% of what you put in. And the bank interest is very low. So basically, is correlated with SIBOR rates. And then you plus cost of fund is about 1.6, 1.7 now. Okay, and the payout is higher. So net you still actually make more money, especially with the premium financing option that will actually jack out your returns after 20 years to 13.62%. And that is basically receiving payout every year. If you are looking at this 100,000, you do a premium financing. Okay, so your yearly payout from the 3rd year onwards will be 8,243 a year. Okay, based on just 100,000 with financing. So imagine you do more, then you'll get more. Okay, and your capital also continue to grow, which is very good. So some of my clients, when they have a few property, they actually sold one away and buy this plan because it gives them income, which is actually better than rental. all right? And the capital still continue to grow, which is much more assured. Okay, because rental, one thing you got to also manage the tenants, okay, rental agreement, renew every 2 years, stamp duty, okay, and also maintenance of the property, which is like aircon maintenance and things like that, which actually really adds up. Okay, yeah. Okay, so basically I have finished my sharing. I hope everyone find it interesting and beneficial. Okay, yeah. So I just want to check, is there any questions for me?